It's a beautiful afternoon. I had to cut course. I was going inside, but I decided to cut cut through, go around. It's Sunday, first day of the week. Yom Rishon in Hebrew. Yeah, I'm in just enjoying my day so far. Trying to get everything in order, you know what I mean? Mapping out my week already. Making plans for the week. Actually, making preparations to, because I said that come my birthday, come Aquarius, the end of the month, that I wouldn't be posting nothing no more. And I've already like deleted, because I can't delete my Facebook. So I was trying last night, so I can't delete them, which I kind of suspected was gonna happen to me. So I just deleted everything off of them. And on one I just left that little live that I did from New Year's up there. But and then I ran a reel right now in this, because yeah, like I said, I'm a change. I gotta focus on me, man. I've been said this, that I'm giving too much of myself and my energy and my time and even my words, and it begins to become an exercise in futility. It becomes like it's like Christ said, casting pearls before swine. You know what I mean? And to turn around and be ridiculed or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? Not for me personally. Not when I have. You know what I mean? And I spent like all day yesterday too, like me and OG Justin Baycott, and that was one of the things. I actually started working on a book addressing the issue of gangs. Because I was there, he was getting calls from LA as we were sitting there talking about that whole thing with Spider Loc disrespecting Monster. And, you know, we're having an honest conversation about it, you know what I mean? And, you know, in hindsight and reflection, everybody being honest about everything, you know what I mean? Like, that's the one thing, is like, people are not honest, because we know that like, there's certain things that are not acceptable. Like, you grow up and like crackheads were looked frowned upon. All the shit that people would the whole lot of us would end up doing, growing up and doing this shit throughout the course of it, is like, you know, and people now, they just want to hang their laurels on, well, I wasn't in PC and this and that, whatever, you know what I mean? But it's like, you're still talking about the worst aspects of your life. You're still talking about, you know what I mean? Like, it's degrading, it's demoralizing, it's demeaning. All of the culture is that there's been no positive, nothing to the gang culture. There's nothing. Like, I'm tracing the origins going back to the Zoot Suit Wars, right? So I'm really trying to get all of the everything, because like, people don't understand that gangs were weaponized against us by the counterintelligence program. Gangs were used against ourselves, to turn us against ourselves. That was the greatest weapon they had against us, was the gangs. So when you go from like the 1940s, where there's more social club and it's more racial orientated, you know what I mean? And then you get to the 1950s and 60s, where the U.S. government, by policy, by law, by legislation, forced black and browns into those communities as they've been segmented. So there's a forced migration that's occurring simultaneously while, you know what I mean, like these gang cultures are forming. Because here's where you get your earliest gangs to forming, like Chicano gangs, because like Golden Gates is the Golden Gates here is as old as the oldest gang in Los Angeles, Chicano gang. And like, but those are different functions. They function different. They had different, like, every generation, the gang culture of every generation is different than the next generation. It's like I try to point out to people, like, when I went to prison, we were scorned because of the way we gang banged. Like, we didn't, like, the OGs didn't look like, they thought the shit that we did was like beneath them. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, you can't tell us how to do our shit when we're out here at war. That was our whole thing. It's like, dude, we're at war. We're trying to kill each other. And that was the thing here. It's like no one ever tried to get involved with that shit. There's never been nobody to try to step up and try to stop none of these gang wars. Because you can't. Not here. Not then you couldn't, but like that's the thing. It's like each generation came in doing its own thing. We came in making reputations for ourselves. We came in and we wanted shit our way. It's a fact. You know what I mean? So like I said, we weren't fully accepted for what it was. It wasn't until they can start using us to their benefit. It wasn't until they started, and that generation started being able to use us to their benefit, that it all coalesced. And you see how in the 90s, there's a shifting in dynamics. Everything becomes political then. There's like, but it never really took root like that here. Like, they tried some things that didn't make no sense, but, you know, to each his own.
That was a very,
But that's the thing, if you're gonna look back in honesty. You threw your life away first. I threw my life away by doing what I did, no matter what. You know what I mean? And I sit there and I say, I was 15 years old. A lot of us were kids, you know what I mean, throwing our lives away, and we didn't understand. It's like we grew up together. We went to the same school. We went to Edison Elementary, and like the gangs predated us. But like when we were there, it wasn't like that with us. Not at school, you know what I mean? And there's a nexus to it here. There's different. It's just like even out there, like a lot of people don't understand that the acceleration of gang violence in Los Angeles can actually be traced to September of 1979. It can literally be traced to that story that Monster Cody tells about them two homies that got in that scrap that ended it, that now it's the 60s 8 trade war. Statistics prove that in Los Angeles that it's at that point that the gang violence just erupts. Like there's statistics to prove that the formation of the Crips caused a spike in crime, and then in violent crime in Los Angeles. And then with the Crips, like that was the whole spread. You can trace the spread of the proliferation of gang violence to that and the movie Colors. Think about that shit, bro. They put in our face at that point when we were in 1988. Those of us who are old enough to remember 1988, no matter where you were, it ain't a flex. It's just to remember where you were in 1988. Because I can go and look at the Justice Department statistics and see what city was doing what. It's not about that. It's about a reflection of where we were in that particular moment when we saw them movies. Think about it. In 1979, it begins. I'm going to tell you something. See, and it's interesting. There's two movies that come out in 1979. What were they? Two gang-related movies came out in 1979. Can anybody tell me what they were? One was East Coast, one was West Coast. East Coast, the Warriors. West Coast, Boulevard Knights. It was depicting street gang violence. It hadn't been done before. We hadn't been shown ourselves. We hadn't been made celebrities yet. They made celebrities of gangs. When we started seeing ourselves on the silver screen as being able to attain that, then we started aspiring to be it. They misled us into believing that that's who we were when they first forced us into those compressions. The United States government, by policy, forced us into those constraints. They forced us into those demographics. And then what did they do to us? MK Ultra study, FBI COINTEL program, all of this stuff aimed at who? At us. And then by 1979, what happens? Sugar Hill Records, Sugar Hill Gang, it's all coalesced. And what do they start doing? Blasting it at us. So by 1988, 9 years after that, that is more than enough time to test a theory. If they were going to test a theory in Hollywood as to the effects of that movie, they knew by 1988. What did they follow up with? Colors, colors, colors. And that's when we were at it. That's when it began. Like that right there is a signal to what would happen in the 1990s, because the 1990s was even worse than the 1980s. These are their statistics. This is what they show happened. So, you know, if you could recall, those of us old enough, you go back, smoking crack and all that shit was not acceptable in the hood. The whole lot of stuff that's acceptable that would be politicked away, it would be politicked away based on, let's take Monster Cody for an example. It was politicked away in his case because if you couldn't kill him, you ain't gonna tell him nothing. Period. It doesn't matter what Monster Cody wanted to do in his, you know what I'm saying, with his life. That's his life. That man wanted to do whatever he wanted to do. He gonna do it. That don't matter. That's irrelevant. But the fact of the matter is, when you got people of that stature that you know, they've already taken theirs and you know what it takes to get them. And there ain't too many that are willing to go there, then, you know what I'm saying? What you gonna say? You know, everyone who's watched me understands how me, myself, how disrespectful I can be. I gotta live my life, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, this is something I say about this new year, about resolve itself, because, you know, I have to resolve with myself what haunts me from my past, things like this. You know what I mean? Like Spider-Loc, a grandfather in his 50s getting triggered into a back and forth with a 30-year-old kid or 40-year-old, whatever. Like, bro, that's a kid to you. You know what I'm saying? And like, it was something about Ant too. Like, I remember when Ant first came out, we had me and Justin, and there was other OGs from Make Sure he was talking about it, about how he was stepping in it. That he was stepping in it, and what ended up happening with him and Spider-Loc was inevitable. Especially going over there playing around with Adam 22 and stuff, trying to be a celebrity. Hey, buddy. The dog. I was out there, was it yesterday? Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I came out here, I was sketching. And he came up on me. I was laying out there in the grass. I was sketching and doing some math and shit. Came up on me. The dog be doing that to me though. But we all have to come to terms with our own selves in this equation, and that's what's lacking with a lot of people. You know, people are too busy trying to be celebrities on here. Every content creator on here wants to act like their shit don't stink, dude. You know what I mean? But like, there's certain ethics that people have applied. Like I was watching Kev Mac, because Kev Mac just jumped back online over all this shit too. And like, you got big U's, you know, you had all kinds of people just jump out on Spider, like, Spider, don't go back home, homie. Hold on, let me, Spider, just apologize, bro. You know that was wrong, bro. You know, as a grown man, homie, you were out of bounds. You were out of bounds for engaging with it, and I'm the same way. Like, this is the conversation me and PJ had, and I told myself that, you know what I mean, at our age, and I've been stressing that point, that should not even be our conversation. Why are we engaged in it? Like, people are flexing about reputations, dog. Like, why are grown men flexing over reputations? Does your reputation precede you or no? You know what I mean? I mean, it seems to me like dudes jump online and now they're trying to make a name for themselves online without having to put in work. You know what I mean? Just running their mouths. That's why I come outside and I go live, because it's like, you know, you can't come at me with none of that, because I'm live on location for one. You know what I mean? And as far as I'm concerned, I feel I earned the right to say whatever I want about whatever I want. I have a right to an opinion in life, shit. You know what I mean? You can like it or not, but I'm entitled to it just like everyone else is. The issue is okay, what does that opinion entail, and what's the consequences of it? Because obviously, I mean, here's the thing. Like, okay, let's say this, right? Let's go to, what's that dude, extra 40 extra or whatever, 4 extras guy, the 4-finger guy, 1-finger guy, I don't know, him, right? So, okay, remember how he comes out, right? This dude becomes a YouTube celebrity. He gets on Adam 22's helmet, German helmet, starts sucking on Adam 22's German helmet. And why? Does anyone remember how he got his claim to fame? He got his claim to fame because Jet 5 was popping. Jet 5 was locked up. Remember that? Jet 5 had just went to the pen and everything. You know what I mean? And this fool comes out and he wants to flex on Jet 5. A story that a true story in which Jet 5 touched up 5 of his homies first. And him being so much bigger and older than the little homie than Jet 5, you know what I mean? Jet 5 still got his in. He still scrapped. It don't matter how it turned out. He got 5. Before that, okay. Now, there's 2 ways you could tell that story. One, the way he told it, obviously, he was clout chasing. He came on there and tried to shit on the little homie's name. Now OG Baycott knows all the Japs. Like, those are his people. So now I'm telling him about all this shit, and then, like, we're having conversations. Then it's like, so yesterday when we're talking, I'm telling him, there's 2 ways of doing that could have happened, right? He could have came out and he could have gave Jet 5 his dues. You know what I'm saying? He could have came out and say that he scrapped him and he scrapped him up, but he didn't have to be disrespectful about it. Because you know what? If he's gonna speak about it, you know what I'm saying? He could have put it in its rightful place. This homie was down. This homie had heart. This homie touched up 5 of my homies, and I had to do something about it. You know what I'm saying? But homie got hard. That's one way of telling the story where you're not being disrespectful. You're being honest. You see what I'm saying? But no, people want to be disrespectful for the clicks, for the clout. Let's be mindful of why we do that. You know what I mean? Jason Johnson, Americans in danger, Venezuela president captured illegally. I know, I've been keeping up on that one right there. Yeah, dog, as soon as that hit my attention, I've been on that right there. That's not good. Dog, this president has absolutely got to go. It is time to remove that man from office, because he's putting us at risk for terror attacks now right here on the ground. He's putting American lives at risk right here on the ground for terror attacks by Americans. Dog, you have military. There are enlisted military officers right now. There's a gang of them that are speaking out and they're telling them dudes right now that are actively over there, that are engaged. They're telling them, you will not be welcome back over here. You are not welcome in America. You better not take those orders. They're telling them. They're telling them troops right now that are over there, you better start refusing those orders or don't come home. These are military telling them that. Don't think you're coming back to any kind of hero's welcome here in America. You're not. Don't come back here flexing, talking about you was over there involved in that. That'll get you killed. Yeah, you don't want no parts in that operation, especially when your own servicemen who are enlisted are telling you. Yeah, you might want to reconsider your position following after that devil in the White House. That's real shit. Because you see what's happening. It's illegal. What Donald Trump did is illegal. It violates the U.S. Constitution. It violates U.S. law. It violates international law. It violates the Geneva Convention. Donald Trump right now is subject to war crimes. Donald Trump should be kidnapped, as a matter of fact. Let's start putting the bullseye on that punk again. Since he now actively kidnapped somebody, let's be mindful of how easy it is to get to Mar-a-Lago, where Mar-a-Lago is. Let's be mindful of where every last one of Donald Trump's properties are. Start protesting at his properties. Go to Mar-a-Lago and start protesting at his properties. Go and force so he cannot go to any of his properties now. Force him into a bunker at the White House. Start protesting around the White House so he's forced into a bunker. Start protesting where Fox Friends, where they have their broadcasts, where those reporters are. Go to the homes of every Fox and Friends reporter. Go protest at their homes and where they wine and dine. Protest around Mar-a-Lago and every single property of Donald Trump in force. Do not allow him or his family near none of his properties. Surround the White House as well so that he gets forced underground. Yup. Protest at airports. Protest at Air Force bases in the United States so that he cannot be flown anywhere in the United States. I'm letting you know where he can land so that he cannot land no more. Put every airport at risk. Put every military base at risk. Put every location in which they dwell at risk. Now what? You want to go to war, Donald Trump? I'm walking right here at Los Olivos Park. You want to have some feds come pick me up and talk about it? Let's try it on camera. Protest every property of Donald Trump. Every golf course so that Secret Service cannot take him there. Everywhere that he can go, surround it. Post threats at every airport. Now what, Donald? You're the one who weakened our national security, right? You're the one who cut the FAA, right? You're the one who's been reallocating all the military forces in order to stage a coup, right? You're the one who's deporting people illegally, right? Okay, buddy, you don't have the resources. What's the numbers of law enforcement in Stockton, California? Let's put Stockton, California law enforcement on notice. What are the statistical numbers, gang members to cops in Stockton, California? Run, police, run. Run, law enforcement, run. You can't hire over there, can you? You can't hire in Stockton, can you, huh? Hey, but I'm going to tell all the homies, listen, in paz, we have a just cause. All the minority communities have a just cause right now. Listen, the cops can't do none. We outnumber them. Law enforcement, we outnumber them. The military, we outnumber them. He can pose any threat that he wants. I heard what he said. I heard where he said it. That's why I put them all on notice too. How does it feel? Where you gonna put the president at? Where we gonna hide him at? Huh? Where we gonna hide the president at? Protest at all of Donald Trump's properties. Mass protests at all of Donald Trump's properties. Mass protests at every single one of Donald Trump's properties. That's what we're doing. Yep, at Fox and Friends too, at their homes. So we can silence those creeps. We can get them from lying on public. I thought no more wars, huh? That man lied about everything he said he was gonna do. So now what? We're gonna protest at Mar-a-Lago. We're gonna protest at the White House. We're gonna protest at the Supreme Court. We're just gonna come out now. Take it all to the streets. Everybody take it to the streets. That's all we gotta do. 100,000 around all of Donald Trump's properties. Just surround him. He can't go there no more. He's gonna be in a bunker. Huelga, 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 huelga. What you want to do? You want to go to war, Donald Trump? Dude, I'm walking in Phoenix, Arizona. Clowning MAGA. Clowning MAGA. MAGA what? MAGA thieves. MAGA liars. MAGA devils. MAGA racists. MAGA haters. That's a whole bunch of MAGA right there, ain't it? So protests at the White House, protests at the U.S. Supreme Court, protest every single Republican who is bowed down to Donald Trump, force every member of MAGA Republicans out of the Congress. Matter of fact, go to their homes and surround their homes. Go knocking on their doors and leave piles of poop on their doorsteps. That's what you do to them. That's what we're doing. You know, most of this community voted for Donald Trump. They don't know more. So protest at Donald Trump's house. We have a constitutional right to protest at Donald Trump. So take your grievances to all of his properties, especially his golf courses. Take all of your protests to Fox and Friends, to their studios. Take your grievances to their homes, to where they wine and dine, so that they have no comfort in public. They should not be allowed any comfort in any public space ever. Never. We're leading mass protests to Donald Trump's residences. He's the one who's calling the shots. And everybody that's following him, let's go protest at their properties. Let's go surround them so Secret Service can't go, so he can't go there no more. Yeah, what about some snipers' nests and some trees and shit? What happened with those ones? No more snipers' nests and trees on golf courses. Oh, they widened the perimeter around the president. How they don't want his pimple getting popped. They can't stage another fake assassination attempt on him, huh? Not because these ones are real now. Yeah, buddy, he's collapsing our economy. He's robbing the bank. He's invading other nations illegally. It's all illegal. Everything he's done is illegal. It's all in violation of the United States Constitution. Think about it. He get an illegal order. Everybody knows that what he's doing is illegal. Yep, this guy threatened the U.S. president. What you gonna do about it? Well, I've been under Department of Homeland Security investigation. Donald Trump done stepped in it now, so we're gonna protest at all of his properties. We're gonna take 100,000 people, Americans, to his properties, and we're gonna protest at all of his properties. And the White House. Anywhere Donald Trump can step off an airplane, any airport, yep, damn, protest. We have a constitutional right to protest. Woo-wee! Dang, it must suck being MAGA, huh? We have a constitution. You guys thought you guys could just do away with the U.S. Constitution, huh? No, we have a right to protest at Donald Trump's properties, all of them. We have a right to protest around the White House. Matter of fact, we have a right to go tour the White House. Yeah, buddy. He can't secure the White House no more. Listen, he put himself in such grave risk that that building is under threat of attack. I didn't do it, he did. That's what he did, didn't he? Didn't he? Didn't he? Look at the spammer. Spam, you get reported for spam. Spam. Hey, look at the, I'm not even looking, and look at the MAGA. Look at how retarded they are. Look at her. That's all I have to do? Dang, I should just stay talking about maggots. These little maggots. I got a trigger, look. Look at how I got all these maggots. Why you mad? I'm at a park. Why you mad when I'm at a park? Huh? Why you mad? I'm walking. I'm leading a mass protest against Donald Trump while I'm walking around the park. What are you talking about? Let's talk about the gangs. We see how triggered these maggots got all of a sudden. That shit is crazy. I thought YouTube creators were bad on here, but goddamn, MAGA fellas is crazy. Oh my God, what the heck is going on? Yeah, that's offensive, man. I'm gonna report you. You shouldn't have said that. Now get out of here. Hey, these are the. Hey. So anyway, we do have a constitutional right to protest. We can protest any politician we want, anywhere we want, for any reason we want. We have freedom of speech. We can say whatever we want about whoever we want. It don't matter. But I see that if you talk about Donald Trump and how he wears diapers and how he's delusional and how he's a fucking tard, you see what happens. Fuck Trump for real. That's real shit. Hey, look. Anybody who would support a pedophile like Donald Trump, you got problems. Let's talk about Donald Trump and pedophilia. Never mind Venezuela. Let's talk about the fact that he was a pedophile. Let's talk about the Epstein files, because that ain't nothing but a distraction from the Epstein files. That's all that shit is. Let's keep it 100 now, people. What Donald Trump did in Venezuela is because he knows how close he is to getting exposed for being a fucking pedophile. A serial pedophile. That's real shit. Now, all of a sudden, he wants to go attacking. Everybody sees what the media reports were on Epstein at the time, right? Did everybody notice how hot the fire was getting about him and Jeffrey Epstein when he decides to do that? Did anybody notice that? Did anybody notice how much the talk was surrounding Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump and them raping underage girls? And then he goes and does that. Nobody could connect those dots. Nobody's seen that every single time that Jeffrey Epstein fucking pot gets put to the fucking furnace, every time he goes and does something even worse, every single time, you could trace it. You can literally trace when media reports are being overwhelming about Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump all of a sudden does something crazy, illegal. Hey, he don't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, huh? I don't know him. I kicked him out. You lying, fool. You lying. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell was talking about they weren't worried about you snitching after he got caught. They said that's what that email was about. They weren't worried about you snitching. You hadn't snitched yet. That's why she had her mud. That's why you guys is like that, because you know what it is. That was your party, fool. Yeah, you was one part of that shit. Donald Trump was a part. He wasn't, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't the ringleader of that shit. Donald Trump was one part of the same scheme and scam. He was using his Miss Teen USA pageant. He was using his connects with all them red herrings and fucking those KGB operatives and fucking modeling industry, like his wives, all of them. They're all red herrings. They're fucking KGB, all of his wives. Everybody knows this. Every one of his wives is a fucking red herring KGB. So all of a sudden, we start talking about Jeffrey Epstein and we got to go blow some shit up, huh? Hey, bro, I'm going to tell you something. He's bound to launch a nuclear attack, dude. That crazy motherfucker is going to launch a nuclear attack. Because it's going to come back. Listen, this is just a distraction. Everybody knows his playbook. It's going to come back up. Jeffrey, it's not going away, dude. Him raping little girls is not going away. The fact that Donald Trump raped little girls is not going away. That he was involved in the largest pederast ring in U.S. history is not going away. There's never been a more powerful ring of pedophiles than Donald Trump was involved in. United States president was involved in, named his properties, used that. Victims occurred there. What are we talking about here? That's disqualifying in itself. Never mind that he feel he can grab your wife or your woman or your daughter by their pussy and kiss them. Never mind that he said all that and you voted for him, huh? Because you feel that way, huh? If you voted for Donald Trump, you must feel that you could just walk up to a woman and grab him by the pussy and kiss him. If you support Donald Trump, then you obviously support pedophilia and you protect pedophiles. Yup. This whole shit in Venezuela, like I said, ain't nothing. They ain't gonna get nowhere with that. Bro, the U.S. does not want no war with fucking Latin America, dude. Why do you think they're clowning Donald Trump? Why do you think they're clowning? Say, why didn't you go after the Mexican cartels? Yeah, punk. Yeah, punk. We know why. Pussy, too close to home, huh, coward? Huh, you don't want that problem in the United States, do you? Nah, you wanted to keep that shit way south when you know there's less of them here. And you know that shit was about the oil. Fuck OPEC too. How'd it feel? How's it feel getting exposed for pedophilia, Donald Trump? Donald Trump, how does it feel being exposed as a pedophile, president pedophile? That's what we own. President pedophile. So how do you people justify voting for President pedophile while he was underinvested, all this shit? His name is all in all. You voted for him. You seem to think he was going to do what? Nah, we know what it is. You hate women. You hate black people. You hate the minorities. You hate the disenfranchised. You hate all of us. You fucking Spaniard-ass European fucking delusional conquered mind motherfuckers. That's all it is. Marina. Hello, Marina. Gamer boy, pedos did me dirty. Yeah, pedos did a lot of people dirty. Pedophiles do every child dirty. That's right, don't protect pedophiles. Father, son, I'm in a non-black neighborhood. That's what's up. Previously frozen studios, I wonder the same thing. So I looked it up. Hey, did you? Hey, and you found the same thing, huh? I bet you, I bet you found that every time that shit happens with Jeffrey Epstein, you find that Donald Trump does some crazy, outlandish things, huh? Ain't that what we find every time? Yeah. Let's see. Originally, the Democrats couldn't release the files because they were sealed due to Ghislaine Maxwell case was on appeal, which you don't open any case while it is on appeal. It's true. You don't. You can't. They already knew that. That's the thing. Like, listen, that was said at the time. Everybody knew that. The thing is like the Trump supporters, like they don't care. They're delusional. They're outright delusional. They believe every lie told because they're just liars and thieves. They're the worst human beings on earth, dude. Like they're the most like fucking deceitful. Think about it. This man is dude, he's a fucking pedophile. He's a thief. He's a fucking bankrupt, dude. Like he ain't got, listen, dude, his business record shows that he has no business acumen. Like it shows that he's not business smart. Nobody can listen. No businessman bankrupts himself that many times, dude. You know why he's bankrupt? Because he's a trick. Donald Trump literally tricked off all his dad's money. He tricked off all these investors' monies with prostitutes and little girls, dude. For that show that you see that's been his life, that celebrity show, that pedophilia and all that shit, those Miss America pageants, that's what he tricked all his money off on. And when he ran for office, everybody knows that he had been under investigation for 10 years for fraud, for bank fraud, for tax evasion. That investigation was 10 years in the making. And everybody sees, you can go back and trace the history of that case itself, just that one case. It goes back 10 years before he even ran the first time. And then you see how it became political. As soon as he ran, he made everything political, everything that was criminal, that had nothing to do with his politics. All these investigations were already there before he became political. And then when he said it's political, then it was political. What he says goes because he has enough people and he has a propaganda machine like Fox News that's going to promote his lies. They're gonna promote those fucking lies. That's why they need to be protested. That's why their homes need to be protested now. They didn't know their fucking rightful place. If you're gonna open your fucking big mouth on a fucking camera to millions of people like that and spread lies that are costing fucking lives, and you're gonna give opportunity to that, then you motherfuckers need to deal with the consequences yourself in person. Every last one of them on Fox Friends and Fox News visit their homes. Go start paying them a visit where they're at. Protest where them motherfuckers reside at. The parks that they attend, the churches that they go to, that's where you go fucking interrupt their lives. Go take that shit to their fucking front doorstep so them motherfuckers know that you're going to be accountable for your words now, you motherfuckers. You're not going to be on here using that fucking platforms to be spreading lies and disinformation and shit, costing people their lives. Fuck you. Find out where they live. Go protest at their homes too. Let them motherfuckers know they're human beings. We're all human beings. No, there ain't no one motherfucker above another in this world. You got life fucked up. Donald Trump's punk ass can be touched too. Matter of fact, he's gonna die on camera. Mark my motherfucking words. I'm gonna keep saying it. Donald Trump is gonna die on camera right there. While they're having a big old cabinet meeting, that motherfucker's gonna give up the ghost. It ain't gonna be too long from now. Yeah, he ain't above reproach. He ain't above death. He ain't above all of the above. Fuck him. Him being president, that motherfucker, listen, he's a criminal president. He's illegal. There ain't nothing legal about nothing he's doing. Nothing. So, let's get it then. Yeah, because the last time I spoke, they found a sniper's nest up on his property. This time I want people to protest at his properties. Yeah, a U.S. president can't be shut down in silence. Believe that. The last thing federal government wants to do is put me on camera. Last thing they want to do is have all these legacy media outlets putting cameras in front of my face wanting to ask me questions. That's the last thing on earth they want. They'll sit there and monitor this shit tooth and nail. Apart from that, nope. It is what it is. You see, I stand up for mine. I stand up for mine daily. I do this shit daily. Ty, let's play. Oh, who's Sleepy Joe? What are you talking about? Here we go. You don't even have a say. Like, you guys are just not saying nothing. This is Donald Trump. That's MAGA right there. That's Donald Trump and everybody who voted for that pedophile. You support pedophiles if you voted for Donald Trump, motherfucker. You got life fucked up. You ain't escaping that. I don't give a fuck what your politics are. If you voted for Donald Trump, you voted for Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Nah, you ain't escaping that fucking label, stupid. Donald Trump's a pedophile. You voted for a pedophile. Donald Trump released a whole bunch of J6ers, and what did they do? They committed murder and rape and pedophilia. Yep, that's what you supported. You're not going to get away from who you are, motherfuckers. You support pedophilia. Every MAGA supports pedophilia. You support fucking drug dealers because he released that fucking president dude who was a major drug dealer. Yeah, no. You're not even going to escape the fucking fire of who you are. You support a motherfucking pedophile. You voted for a pedophile. Own that shit. You support pedophilia, motherfuckers. We ain't talking about nothing. We listen. You ain't getting no other word out of nobody but that you support pedophiles. That's the end of the argument with every Trump supporter. You support pedophilia in America, motherfucker. Fuck you. You are going to own that label from this point on. You support pedophilia in America. There ain't nothing worse than saying you support pedophilia in America. You support pedophilia in America. Yep, Israel. We know Israel does. We know Benjamin Netanyahu's a fucking pedophile his goddamn self. Not only is Benjamin Netanyahu a pedophile, but he's a homosexual pedophile at that. Fuck him too. And what? Oh, he's gonna say Mossad or what? Or I'm just crazy. Yeah, we know. But it's the same shit. If you support Donald Trump, you support pedophilia. That's it. That's it. You support Donald Trump, you support pedophilia. You support pedophiles. You support child rapists. Every Trump supporter supports pedophilia. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. Go ahead, big fish. Go ahead and report me to Secret Service while I'm under DHS investigation. Donald Trump put me under investigation. Coward. He's a coward. Donald Trump's a coward. He harms little girls. Dude, he harms women. He's a predator of women and children, dude. That's all he is. Donald Trump preys upon women and children. And he got grown-ass men to vote for him. God damn, how gullible can you be as a man when he's a predator of women and children? His history proves that he's a predator of women and children. But some grown men voted for him? Ah, dang. What that say about your mama? Like, literally, what does that say about your mother? I'm for real, dead ass asking the question. What does that say about your mother, man? You place pedophile above your own mother, your own grandmother in this equation. You seem to think politicking and all this other shit mattered more than pedophilia. Everybody who voted for Donald Trump voted to support pedophilia. That's all you voted to support. All this, I voted for him for all this political, you're lying. You voted to support pedophilia. You're not going to escape that fucking label. None of you motherfuckers are. Your politics don't mean a motherfucking thing when you supported a pedophile. Oh, you justify supporting a fucking child rapist? Why? So your taxes? So your cheaper gas? So your eggs, motherfucker? So these motherfuckers, these billionaires can rape our children? Yeah, motherfucker, know your places. That's what you did. Lying ass snake motherfuckers, you supported a pedophile. What you gotta say about it? They ain't got no defense, huh? You wrap them up with that shit, they lose all. They ain't got no argument no more. What political argument? Your politics don't matter a damn. You support a pedophile. You just offered him your own goddamn children, you punks. Everybody who voted for Donald Trump offered him their own children. They offered him their own children. That's all they did. That's all good by me. See, because I see it trigger people. How do you think these people voted out here? They got to hear me. Huh? Huh? How you think? You think I give a fuck? You think I give a fuck about how anybody that's passing me by right now hearing what I say, how they voted? They all hearing what I say about Donald Trump, all these people in this community. Yeah, if they voted for him, they gonna feel that shit. Yeah, I'm in public saying it. That's pressure, baby. I apply pressure on these streets. I'm pressure on these streets. I'm gonna post up though. I'm gonna chill for a minute. Yeah, cause I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be going live. I'm gonna be doing this shit. Honestly, I know next week I'm gonna be at ASU campus, so I don't know what day I plan on going. So, and then I know I got to take a trip to the library this week too, so I'll be downtown this week. And I don't know if I'm gonna go live. And I'm probably gonna have to work out wherever I'm at. Like if I go to ASU, I'm probably gonna have to go walking, do my exercising over there. But I came out here today. I was gonna look. You guys want to play a game with me? This shit ain't easy, man. You guys want to play a game? I go sit the camera, we play. We go shoot around. It's like all this, the ones I did yesterday, I can't find those sketches I did yesterday. I don't have them on me. I had them on loose paper, the ones that I was doing, because I had some loose paper because it's easier to turn the paper when I'm doing shit. But like, because I was doing some equations. I was doing some, so you can see like I'm looking at down there. I was sitting right here and I was doing some equations. I was doing some equations in my head and I couldn't get them, so I started trying to write stuff down. But because like I sit over here, like in this area, like on the, because it slopes down like that. So I'll see it somewhere in here, and then and I'm watching the shadows, so I'm clocking the shadows. You know what I mean? And I'm taking photographs at, like I'll wait every 15 minutes or something, and I'll take some more pictures just to map the shadows and shit. But so I'm trying to get grade as I'm looking. But cause like I'm sitting there and it's crazy because like I'm doing all this shit, but then like I'm actually thinking about human behavior. You know what I mean? Like that's the crazy thing. Is like I'm sitting there and I'm like I'm thinking about all this science, right? I'm looking at the curvature of the earth and I'm looking at how it shifts on its axis, and you know what I mean, the science involved in it, you know what I mean? And I'm considering like those forces upon the human body, the human mind and everything like that. You know what I mean? So I go and I take my studies to the whiteboard, and you know what I mean? Like, so, like one of the things I was working on, that's one of the books that I really want to do right now, focusing on is on the gangs, speaking on the gang culture and what's become of it. You know what I mean? I started this live speaking on that, you know what I mean? Somebody brought up Trump, but you know, speaking to the culture, American culture, and where we come from, like this is, you know, when you look at American history and you go from those wars into the society itself, because everything is, you're talking about the military industrial complex. You're talking about the military industrial complex and how it forms. Like this is where the military industrial complex forms out of World War One and Two, seizing German assets, and then you got to understand, television comes out and they start like MK Ultra studies. They start studying, manipulating people with the pills and the lights. They started. What they did was the MK Ultra studies came from Germany. That was stuff that they stole when they seized those German assets. That was part of the studies and shit that they had already stole. That's why like they took Oppenheimer, and like that's why they seized all those were assets. Those human beings were assets to the US government. So, them being forced out in the fashion that they were was strategic. The US is picking up all this shit, and then they're seizing those actual companies and all that other shit, those plants, and then they just broke it up. But they just took what they seized there and just built upon it and used, to just applied it to American infrastructure as they were building it, because this is when American infrastructure is being created, from the power grids to the signal grids. All of it is being mapped out right there at that point. So how they're going to weaponize all of this shit was being strategically planned way back when. So when we talk about the culture of America, the culture of America's inception, it's an inception by them. They decide what the culture is going to be. We're forced into these melting pots, and we're forced to survive in the fashion that we do. So when you understand what culture is as a whole, like, it's more than just a fucking, like, gangs are a part of the culture. Music is a part of the culture. Art is a part of the culture. Literature is a part of the culture. Dance is a part of the culture. Music, food is a part of the culture. This is all what makes culture what it is. So, okay, gangs coalesce around a principle, and this is understood, that at the time, there's racial tensions. There's a lot of there's a unique racial tension, because you're talking 50s, 60s, 70s. And then, couple that with the forced migration patterns. You know what I mean? And so like these social clubs, because they were identified first as social clubs before they would later be then known as gangs. But like these things are just groups of people wearing their little coats and shit. You know what I mean? Slick back hair, whatever, going from the Zusu era on and on. But, there's something that cannot be overlooked, and it's our responsibility, because, okay, there's that forced compression that's part of the government's responsibility, but then there's our responsibility because we go to school with each other. You see what I'm saying? We're the ones who are there in competition with one another, and we turn these competitions with one another over sports and whatever it is, girls and shit, into other things. It becomes fights, you know what I mean? And then these fights become with sticks and knives and guns. This is the traced history of gang cultures in America. It's a trace history that's consistent. So, there's where the responsibility lies. The parents, why are these kids out there doing these things that they're doing? Why are parents making excuses for what their kids are doing? Now we've come to a point where it doesn't matter, because the great-grandparents were gang members. And the great-great-grandkids are now being born into this culture, and they're out there now gang banging. So the solution can only come in reorientating ourselves. You know what I mean? A solution can only be found in us realizing for ourselves that, okay, we can't, the labels are what they are, but we don't have to be negative. We don't have to be violent. We don't have to be criminal. You know what I'm saying? Our organizations can be positive. You know what I mean? They can be structural. They can be constructive. They can be positive. You know what I mean? They can be educational. You know what I mean? Resourceful. these gangs, these grouping of people in these communities that are named as they are, as we've named them, they don't have to, that does not have to exist. What needs to stop is the violence, the crime, the drugs, the abuse. You know what I mean? We need to accept responsibility and be accountable for our own selves. You know what I mean? We need to understand our own place and our own role in society as a whole. We all have a shared responsibility in this. It ain't just one person who's solely responsible for all of it. It's not. We're all responsible. This is where repentance comes into play, because to repent, by definition, by literal translation, means turn to. And the understanding in Hebrew is to turn to the law, because God said, "Thou shalt and thou shalt not." Today's the first day of the week. Yom Sharon, it's the first day of the week. Sunday. For me, it's the beginning of a new framework, of a new mind frame. You know what I mean? Of new pursuits in life. You know what I mean? Because I've already, like I said, starting this, I've already started deleting all my shit off of Facebook. You know what I mean? Because I can't delete them. You know what I mean? And I don't care to, I don't like people, I'm not here for no celebrity. I'm not here for no money. I'm not here for none of that. I'm not none of these dudes on here. My reputation precedes me where I come from. My intelligence is obvious. You know what I'm saying? The value that I possess as a human being is evident. I don't need to prove nothing to nobody. I'm not on here to prove anything to anybody. I'm here to share insights with others. But to me, like I said, it gets to a point where it feels like I'm just scattering pearls before swine. It becomes an exercise in futility when people don't seem to understand the error of their way. You know what I mean? And this is just taking from my time and my energy. You know what I mean? Like this is energy that I could be spent. These are words that I could be spent written down. You know what I mean? Like my words have far greater value than it should be wasting, throwing out in fucking ether. I see myself as far more valuable as a human being than just fucking a content creator on YouTube. Fuck no. My words have way more meaning. There's way more power in what I say than all that bullshit for me to just settle for that. It's like I was watching Cad Mac when he come back on. He was talking about, he reminded everybody how when he started doing his lives, how he always would start his live with them disclaimers about the gangs and stuff and what it leads to, the pitfalls. But I'm watching this, and then like I was watching it with OG Baycott. Now that motherfucker sick. With OG Baycott, and it's like, yeah, you're doing all that, but then you turn around, the disclaimer is just thrown out of the water by the butt that you injected into it, because then you get into the topic of whatever it is. And if you're like, you got to think about it, dude. Like, and people always brought this up to me, and I didn't care until now. I really didn't, but now I see it, because like people always say, like you keep bringing up. You keep bringing up the dead people, and like, what about them? You know what I mean? And like, I didn't care. That's the fact. I let the dead bury the dead. My sentiments about it don't change, but as far as my treatment of it, because it's like to bring it up, dog, that's hurtful to people that lost a loved one regardless, dude. None of these dudes and all of their fucking hype seem to understand that it's offensive to more people than it's not. And it does no good to speak about it like we're just telling war stories. People just want to know who did what, and now everybody knows who did what. And now it's about controversy, right? It's about, you know what I mean, like, you know, people get like, why are you talking, like, people, everybody brought that up about that whole situation. Why were either of them talking about other people anyway? That's what I say about all this shit. Like, there's just always too much of that going on, where there's just too many people talking about, like, why are you speaking on somebody else? That's the thing. Like now, like I said, it's nothing but gossip column. You know what I mean? Like, it's a gossip column, dude. You're just trying to gain celebrity by targeting somebody else. It's like they go and ask you, well, what do you think about this dude? Like, I've come to a point where now I don't think about him if I'm not watching him. I don't. You know what I mean? If I didn't speak on him, then chances are I'm not watching him. I would have brought him up if I was. You know what I mean? And everybody knows, dude, like that's a childish game right there, dude. For all you grown people who ask that question, what do you think about? You know you're inciting bullshit. You know that's a little childish, girlish little thing to do. You know exactly what you're hinting at. What do you think about? You're just trying to start shit. If you're in there and you're just trying to start shit between two men on YouTube, that's what you fools need to consider. But at the same time, it's like OG Gangster said. You know, like a bunch of matter of fact, Big Meech was saying that shit. Big Meech was saying that shit. How um he like, you know what I mean? Like there's gonna be 10,000 motherfuckers that are gonna say something. But that's the thing, is like too much of that. Like for one thing, you ask me about somebody. If you ask me about a U.S. president, that's one thing. You ask me about another content creator, it's like now, dude, I'm gonna be 51 years old here shortly. If I'm not, listen, if I'm not watching them, I don't even think about them. That's true. And like for me to even go there, I just can't. That's why I say, like, I'm not gonna waste too much of more of my breath on this shit regardless. Am I at the airport? No. I'm at Los Olivos Park. I come here Sunday through Friday, noontime at Zenith, and I walk a minimum 5 miles. Right now I am on, I don't know how many I got. I don't even know how many times I circled this, but I know I've been on here over an hour, and I'm not gonna stay on too much longer. Like I said, I don't know how many more. I may do a couple more lives this week. But I gotta focus on getting back in school. I gotta focus on getting these books published and shit. You know what I mean? Getting books done and published. Like I gotta focus on the work ahead of me, man. You know what I mean? Like I got books I need to be getting to publishers and shit, and I'm like wasting too much time. Like, you know, I view this as a teaching tool for me. You know what I mean? Like I use this for me. This platform. This is my pulpit. You know what I mean? This is my classroom. This is my stay. This is it for me. But you know, there's no reward. There's no reward in it for me. It's draining. It's draining me of my energy. You know what I mean? Like it's like I said, the words that I say on here can be written. You know what I mean? There's too much value in it for me to be wasting it. Like I said, it's just casting pearl before swine, dude. Because you see what ends up happening on here all the time on live. It's the same shit. You know what I mean? Like you get the same sensitive people that have emotional problems, that have mental illness problems, that come out here and do the same shit. And they think they want to think that they can project that at somebody else who's live. This is what's mind-blowing. Like the people really don't see it for themselves, that they'll come on day after day after day. They'll do the same delusional shit. You know what I mean? Just because I get fucking excited, just because I fucking, you know what I mean? Like the crazy thing is you know for a fact that the words never stick with them, because that's all they're there for, just to see the volume go up or down. They're not interested in the words. The words mean nothing to them. But see, I've always just shot past them because I know the idiots that they are. I know the bird brains that they are. They're content creators on YouTube. It says a lot. Like any one of these dudes, you can look at them and know that they're not very intelligent people. They're not. I mean, at least from my standpoint, if you're going to compare any of them to me, obviously not. So when I look at them, that's all I see is I just see a bunch of parrots, a bunch of puppets, a bunch of mimics, a bunch of mocks. That's all I see is like they're just mimicking and mocking and going back and forth, and it's just like a bunch of bird brains in a fucking cage, dude. Like, just that's all it is. And there's no substantive value. We know that there's not because you're just talking about old war stories. You're telling us old war stories to tell us how it's not sweet, but nobody's presenting no solutions. That's what I keep saying about all of it. Nobody's presenting any solutions. When are you going to stop allowing your children to do that? Like you're allowing youth to fucking spray paint in your neighborhood. You're allowing the youth to terrorize your neighborhood. What does that say about you as men? You're afraid of your own youth, your own children. This is what the penitentiary and these gangs has done to you. This is what the post-traumatic stress disorder has crippled you to. You can't get out and go, why? Like, listen, bro, this is a template for any of them. Any and every last one of them could be out every day. But we know they're not. Have some heart, homie. Go outside and walk and talk live, dude. Go out there and tell them why that shit's wrong, dude. You know what I'm saying? You keep, like, tell them why it's wrong, man. You keep coming up with war stories, dude. You're just telling war stories to entertain for money. Stop lying to yourselves, dude. Because otherwise, listen, no one can say nothing no more. Because we've gotten to a point now where, listen, if it doesn't right itself, if we don't see this for ourselves and we don't write this shit, I'm gonna tell you, there's no more respect for the dead or nothing. And everybody that claims a gang and gang culture is gonna be on YouTube, and you better get used to it. I'm gonna tell you what, you better get used to your OGs being desecrated like that in the graves, dog. And you better get used to them kids going there and pissing on them too. I'm telling you fools straight up, if you fools don't start standing up right now and let your nuts hang, then expect that. Expect all the dead, a desecration of all the dead. Expect the dead to rise first, as Scripture says. So, yeah, if you don't see it for yourself, if you don't see that by continuing to talk about it, continuing to tell us how not sweet it is when your little sourpuss kids are being raised without parents, right? They're being raised by these crackheads. They don't have no fucking parents. They don't have no structure there. There's no one seeming there, because I watched a video this day, dude talking about I'm going to the 1200s and I'm going to go down over there. You can tell they're all scared, clutching guns, but they're over there fucking tagging up fucking Hoover and all this other ECK, whatever, out, all this other, like, whose kid is that? Huh? Where like, kids are running the streets, bro. Like, what are you talking about? You don't have, you fools are losing your voice. You don't even have a say anymore because you're just sitting there. You're making money to perpetuate the problem, and you don't see yourselves as a problem. Man, absolutely. I can't remember. Bro, you speak really good English. How long have you been speaking? 44.9 years. I've been speaking 44.95 years. Homie Lokes. On them essay Psycho Locos. No, I'm just fucking with you. It depends on what I'm talking about, honestly. Man, my vernacular changes on a fucking flip of a switch, dude. My accent changes quick, fast, in a hurry. I tell you, it ain't gonna take me but a couple days moving back to Texas before I'm talking about y'all. already. It ain't gonna take me but a couple days before I'm already like, y'all crazy already. Later. That's what they be doing in Texas. I'm just out here enjoying beautiful. You see, hey, I got that one quick. Because we had that discussion. But it's funny, look. It's crazy how one person can chime in with a comment, right? With a compliment, more or less. I never know how to take compliments because I don't do flattery, for one thing, honestly. But then the next person immediately talk about rubbing nickels together. Let's see if I got some nickels rubbed together. Do I got some nickels rubbed together? Hold on. Now I ain't got no nickels. You're right, I don't have 2 nickels to rub together. But I got fruit dollars. You look stupid. Shout out to the Longos. Shout out to Longo. Fuck, dog. I ain't gonna start. Dude. I ain't gonna start. Anyway, let me just give you a view of the apartment. You guys are always on some weird shit, dog. Like, that was weird. That's just straight weird. Bardia. That is like really straight weird, dude. Come on, man. We're on a live stream. You know what I mean? Like, somebody compliments and you get sour about it. I can't get a compliment without you having to say something. Like, think about that. If we're in public, right? Somebody comes up, hey, you speak really well. And then another person don't know me is like, he's broke. Like, what the fuck was that all about in public? Why did you just do that in public? You know what I'm saying? I want to ask really reported question. You have to say, I don't know what you're saying. Listen, I cannot even read what you said. It don't make no sense. I'm at Los Olivos Park though. Just so we're reminded of where I'm at. I'm just at the park. I'm just chilling. I'm just exercising. Dang, man, I can't even like, sheesh. What were we talking about? Gangs, huh? Somebody wanted to distract. Somebody obviously was sour about the conversation about the gangs, huh? Obviously, somebody must have felt like they're not doing the right thing here all of a sudden, because it just kind of like shifted onto a negative course. Because I know there's people that they promote gangs. Like, all of their content is like they hype these dudes up. They have like social media where like it's just all about these prison guys. Like, it's to make them look good. They make all of these prison guys look good, and like you're supposed to like respect them, and like the way they showcase them, and like they talk about these dudes, they chronicle them, and they fucking give their bios and shit. Like, no, dude, these dudes are creeps. They're all losers, every last one of them. I don't care if I know them. I don't care how well I know them. They're fucking creeps. I know what them motherfuckers are about. What you mean? Yeah, buddy. You people be doing weird shit on here, man. I tell you, man. Like that stuff right there, it don't make no sense. You're promoting gangs. You're promoting them. You're trying to make them look good. Do you have, listen, are those photos captioned and them stories captioned? Do you call them out of their names? Huh? Do you speak from the family's perspective? Do you speak like how a family member would speak about them in return? Nah, you don't give the family their dues, huh? But you gonna make some money off of telling their stories though, huh? You making some money off of them, huh? Dang, that's a cold piece of work, dog. That's a cold piece of work, to not be an active gang member, to not be in no gang, but to be putting out content about gangs and making money off of it. That's culture vulture. You're not an active gang member, but you're speaking about gangs, active gangs. That's a culture vulture. These dudes work. They don't even live in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Some of them are in federal witness protection program. Like, we know the cast of characters that you're going to get on YouTube. We know. They've all been to the pen, and they've all got, you know what I mean, these Vita Locas and JC, what it do, brother, man, what it do? We're speaking on the gang culture. I was talking to the homie PJ. Me and PJ was having some long talks, and it was crazy because me and PJ were literally speaking on that point at that moment. We were speaking on RJ and Little Ricky. When OG Judson Baycott, he pops up and he's like, I gotta talk to you, homie, I gotta talk to you. And he starts running down to me what Spider Locast said about Monster. So I was over there, we were talking about that, you know what I mean? We talked a long time about that shit, watched a bunch of video and I, you know, I come to a lot of realizations watching it, you know what I mean? Cause like I was already, that morning I woke up engaged in some questions because the issue already got brought. So I had asked some questions and I had, my mind frame had already turned to gangs and I wanted to do some studying and researching, right? So I had did that that's when that morning PJ calls me and I'm talking with PJ and we're having this real deep conversation about all the hood shit, you know what I mean? All the shit. You know what I mean? We're sorting it all out, you know what I mean? Because we got to, you know, it's beneficial to all of us, really. But, so then I'm out there, you know what I mean? I'm probably on my third or fourth call with him, and I'm sitting out there, and the homie OG Baycott comes up, and it's when he tells me shit, and we end up talking. And, you know, it's like I told my cousin, because me and my cousin from LA, from Pico Union, talked one time, right? And he's talking about this generation, and he's talking about what we didn't do and all this and that. I said, hold on, homie, hold on, bro. I said, hold on a minute. Let's not lie to ourselves. Let's not bullshit. I said, because we were trying to make a name for ourselves. I mean, we were writing our names with markers all over books, all over walls. We were spray painting our shit all over walls. We were fucking trying to make a name. We were putting in work. We wanted our names to be known in the hood. So that's a lie. The only difference is we didn't have the technology they have. That's it. Bro, if you think for a second I wouldn't have been fucking wilding out in the same stupid ass way at 15 years old if I had cameras and shit, because we were flexing in front of cameras taking pictures, dude. So we would have been doing the same shit now if we had these technologies. It's a lie to say that we wouldn't, dude. And this is the thing about one generation to the next. Once we're no longer involved in it, we want to act like we didn't do shit ourselves. That's a lie. It's a fucking lie, dog. Everybody wants to come on here and act like they have immaculate stories and they're the immaculate gangsters. Like, all these dudes claim to be immaculate gangsters. Are they not immaculate gangsters? They want to be immaculate. No smut, no this, no that. Like, dog, and you must not put no work in. If there ain't no smut on your fucking name, dog, I don't know where you've been. Because everybody I know, whether they motherfuckers were snitches or anything, bro, everybody got smut on their name, dog. You don't kill people and not get smut on your name, dude. You don't, listen, you do not dwell in that dark ass world where people are being set up to kill. You don't get smut on your fucking name. You don't. It's delusional. And see, that's what I say about the whole lot of it. When people are not honest enough and they can't see that shit for themselves, right? How is anybody ever gonna learn? You know what I'm saying? You still trying to hold on to the respectability of being a gang member on YouTube. Instead of being like okay, it's an afterthought that Spider Loc is a grandfather. Why is it an afterthought that Spider Loc is a grandfather? Because Spider Loc puts himself out there as being Spider Loc, which now he's Spider Joke. Spider Loc got the ultimate disrespect by the homie P from A Trey. He called him Spider Joke. That was a joke, dude. And you lost all credibility in all hoods. Because why? Instead of being a grandfather and showing yourself to be a grandfather, you still wanted to be Spider Loc. You still wanted to be known as Spider Loc. You want to be that reputable. No schmut on his name, all this other stuff like everybody else in the game on here. Why, does that give you more recognition? Like, does that give you more credibility? Does it mean that you're telling the truth? No, it doesn't. See, this is what I don't understand about it. All of these ex-gang members, no longer gang members, still perpetuating the cycle by speaking out in the fashion that they do. And for what? It's like, when are you going to be a father to your children instead of being a YouTuber and a content creator online and telling war stories about shit that's so far behind? Perpetuating the same vicious cycle that we all came through. 30 years of my life incarceration beginning at 15 years old for gang violence. You think I want to spend every day talking about this shit, reliving this shit, talking about like this, all I can think about is prison, all I can think about is gangs? Who wants to do that, dude? Every one of these dudes that's on there that's putting in content, they have to think about that. That's all they think about. Are they not all trying to be celebrities on here? Let's first identify that fact. That it's a celebrity thing. None of us are active gang members, dude. But what are we promoting? Hold on. Let me give you my show, man. Let me give you my show, man. Come on, man. Let me give you my show. So what? Like, I'm out here in public, right? I'm preaching on gangs, culture, teaching, educating, right? I'm doing this out here in public, at a park. See, if it costs me my life, then it costs me my life. But you know what? It cost me my life doing what was right in the sight of God. Right? It cost me my life headed in the right direction in the sight of God, didn't it? And God decided it for me in that moment. Not no one else. God decided, you know what, Daniel? Let's ghost. You walked enough. You talked enough. You said enough. If they don't get it, they don't get it. This is where I'm at with it, period. I've walked enough days doing this live till I don't have to do no more. Why would I have to go back and say what's already been said when tens of millions of people in gangs need to catch up to it? How I can't go. This is the crux of my problem always. I can only go so far before I can't say nothing else. I gotta let everybody else catch up. These are facts. And I'm just walking, dude. I just keep walking, keep walking. What difference does it make to tell the story? You have to ask yourself, before you even put that camera on and you start telling that story, you got to ask yourself, what good is going to come from it? There is no good going to come from those stories, dude. You people need to understand that. You sitting here, listen, All you are doing is telling scary stories out of your own fear and loathing. This is psychological textbook 101, dude. It's post-traumatic stress disorder expressing itself all over YouTube. I did the same thing. I was the only one honest enough to admit it all along. Everybody else, they got their iron mask on. They're celebrities, like I said. That's why I called them all out their names, because they're celebrities on here. If they was really all them gang monikers and all that they claim to be, they would have came over here. They ain't that. They won't even say nothing. We know that. It don't listen. It don't matter. It wouldn't matter who I disrespected over there or how I disrespected them, dog. I would not get any backlash over there from that place ever again, dog. I wouldn't. I don't expect it. The backlash is always evident. It's always the same. But the thing is you have to see it for yourself, dude. Like, if you're a father, think about these fucking stories, dude. Like, I don't want my kid, listen, if I have another kid, I don't want my kid to know nothing about this world, dude. That's why I want a daughter raised on a ranch, dude. I don't want to fucking raise no kid in this world like this shit. Why did my kid got to see this world like this? You know what I mean? Like, my child don't need to know no fucked up people in this world, especially my family. You know what I mean? The first people I'm gonna be protecting my child from is my own fucking family. You know what I mean? Like, that's why my daughter would be raised on a ranch. You know? But think about it. All the energy that you're devoting to putting in content, because we know you're making money, what are you doing for the children, for your kids, your own kids, right there in the community? Where you at in your own community? Like, dog, you put out 5 videos in one day that's fucking totaling 4 hours worth of content, which means that you spent at least 6 doing it. And for what? Just for that check at the end of the month, huh? We know that shit, dog. Don't lie, dude. That's the problem with it. And see, people go on these platforms and they'll say anything so they can get the clicks. Like, this is another thing. Why are people still talking about Munchie B? Like, dog, listen. That Munchie B story's been circulating for I don't know how many years now. And it's one of those things where, like, whatever. You know what I mean? And it's the same shit with that with that fucking fat rat story. It's like, we've gotten to the point where now, like, these dudes are, listen, we know the Bible says that what's done in the dark will become to light, right? So what's all coming to light now? The fact that there's so many homosexuals in these gangs, that there were so many dope fiends in these gangs, that's what's surprising to everyone. That karma caught up with all of us, that everybody's surprised that karma catches up with everybody. That the shit that was done in the dark's coming to light. You know what I'm saying? Homies were fucking, you know what I'm saying, doing all this other shit. You know what I mean? Like, the most reputable characters you find that did what? Now, see, the drug dealers, they want to think that they're blamed. They're the worst. To all of you so-called gangsters, you're not a gangster if you sold drugs. You're weak. I don't look at drug dealers as gangsters. I don't. You know, killers, gang bangers, that's different. Not drug dealers. Drug dealers always have to pay people. Drug dealers always have to pay people. And drug dealers are the worst because who's the people that are dying in the community? You look at any one of those notable drug dealers. How many drug overdoses in the neighborhood? How many people died from the drug violence? How many people died from drug violence? So they're blameless in all of this? Huh? When they're responsible for them OGs being turned into crackheads? Huh? They got all of their money, all of their status off of the back of off of your grandmothers and your grandfathers and your OGs and your triple OGs. They're all cracked out right now. Huh? Those are the ones we're celebrating, huh? Those are the ones. That it just goes to show how twisted the mentality of people are, huh? You'll give them more celebrity, more status. They're better. They're more righteous because they didn't snitch. They didn't do drugs. You know what I mean, or whatever, huh? But never mind how many people got turned out on drugs. Never mind all the kids that were fucking abandoned because of the drugs. Never mind how it did to communities, because we all know that nothing has been more deadly to the communities than drugs. Not the gangs themselves, drugs. Karma. I said this years ago. That all of these major drug dealers were going to see that they would lose a child, at least one child, to drugs. They were going to feel it, and they were going to know it in the worst way. And that wasn't going to be the end of it for them. Their karma's not done. None of our karma's done yet. We reap what we sow. And people continue to reap the same gang violence because they speak about it in the fashion that they do. Look at how I call it out compared to the way the rest of them call it out. That's how you know there's a difference. I don't have to two-step about my reasons. I don't have to make no lame excuses. I don't have to sit there and say, oh, well, I don't know. No, I'm a grown man. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And you can think you can come in my face and handle that. If you're not willing to lose your life for it, you stop. I'm going to stop you dead in your tracks before you even go there. Because all of this shit, otherwise, to me, it's the same shit, dog. And I'm not for excuses to nobody. It's an excuse that you can't show up if I call you a punk. That's it. Whatever you're going to say for not showing up is an excuse. It's lame, and that's it, dude. You're weak. The rest, you got to consider your own actions. You got to consider your own deeds. Why are you steady talking about gangs when you're not actively in gangs? Why are you so interested in the shit? Why not just go get counseling and talk about that shit one-on-one? Instead of spreading your own fear and loathing. It's not sweet, it's scary. I have to walk around on a swivel. I mean, goddamn, how much sense can you make in life if you have to walk around in life with your head on a swivel? You're a weeble wobble brain. Your brain weeble wobbles. It's all over the place. You're like this with it. Like, stand your ground, homie. Take a stance in life. Charlie, hey, just lost my cousin 10-15 this year. Fent overdose. He was from Phoenix. Prayers to your family, bro. And my homie Wessel. Rest in peace. I don't know how many, that's the thing, bro. I don't know how many loved ones, dog. Like, and it's crazy you say that's my homie Wessel. This is my brother. Man, we slept on floors together, man. Shit, he lived with me because his mom moved to the south side. And they moved out the hood and moved to the south side and on Rozier. So he came and lived with me so he could go to stay going to Edison with us. I tell the homies that all the time, man. That's one thing that's got to stop. That fentanyl, man, that is. But it's like I tell people, man, I was there at that point, man. I was involved in that decision to start using that. Well, not that in particular, you know what I mean? Because originally the Sinaloa cartel was cutting it with morphine. They weren't originally cutting it with fentanyl. They were cutting it with morphine. But morphine's more costly. So that's when they just whoever the cooks were came up with that. But I seen that shit in the Dominican. That's where I had seen that shit. That's where we had that conversation about it. Because I already knew what the stats were here in the valley. I already knew that we were seeing a rise in opioid, in the blues, Percocets, Oxy. So it just, I mean, I'm being paid for my for my thoughts, you know what I mean? Like, I'm being paid to answer these questions, so I share a responsibility. That's why I say, like, I understand it, man, I understand it at every level. You know what I mean? I've been at that level, and that's the thing. That's why I say, like, you know, when it comes to that in particular, like, you know, they're emotionalists. Those are the most heartless people, because they don't see themselves as being responsible for all of that shit. You know what I mean? Like, they don't see themselves as fucking, like, all of those people addicted to the drugs, all of those deaths involved, all of that gang violence and shit. No, you're responsible. You motherfuckers, dude. Freeway Ricky Ross, all these fools that are putting all that money, guns, and drugs and shit on the street. That's where the violence comes from. And like your celebrity, like your whole rap is about drugs. Your own drug addiction, and how you're making so much profit by destroying your community with drugs and gang violence. Think about it. This is rap music. Rap music is a celebration of how those drug addicts, how they infect their communities with drugs and gang violence. How they perpetuate the cycle. This is what every single rapper is doing. This gangster rapping, drill rapping, trap rapping, mumble rapping, crap rapping, and all that shit rapping. Yep, that's all it is. Your billboards for our own death and destruction. You guys are the bugles. You guys are the devils doing all of this bugling. This giving us the chorus to go kill ourselves. They're a chorus of devils and demons that are just blowing the bugles in our ears and leading us down a death of destruction. Look at it. Boy, gangster is gay now. It is literally gay. There are gay fucking gangsters. There's trans gangsters, dude. Gang is gay. Once there are fucking trans gangs and gay gangs, gangs have gone gay. It is not a good thing. It's not a good day and age to be called a gang member. Gang members are gay. This is a known fact. Mo 3 lost his life on a freeway in Texas by an assassin who just left from where? How is it that there's people like that who's involved in setups like that? Gangster. Tell me. Huh? Tell me. Greasy Doze, real game spitter. Charlie speaking facts. Greasy Dolls, not all of them. You're talking about celebrities go to the hood, blah. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think there's a lot of people that find themselves in that same place in reality, where we've made our mistakes and we know that karma's caught up with us. It's clear as day. And where we are, we do all that we can. You know what I mean? Like we do all that we can where we are, but there's those that perpetuate the cycle because people do not understand that telling war stories is glorifying it. Listen, don't stop lying to yourselves and saying you're not glorifying it by talking about it. You're glorifying it, dude. If it wasn't, listen, if you were ashamed of the shit, if you were ashamed of it, you wouldn't talk about it, dog. So you're glorying in it. You're gloating in it. Stop lying to yourselves. No, you are glorying in it. You're gloating. If you had any shame in anything, dog, you would not be speaking on it. Motherfuckers don't talk about the shit that they did in the closet, do they? No, huh? Yeah, because it ain't the same, huh? You're not gonna tell about the snake shit. None of us are gonna sit there and talk about the snake shit we did, huh? Nobody ain't gonna expose ourselves for shit that we know we did wasn't right, huh? But then we'll sit there and tell all the stories that do make us look good, huh? Make us look tough and make us look, it's not till somebody else tells the stories about how we got chased and shit, huh? And then we don't like it. It gets disrespectful because motherfucker calls us the truth. I mean, what do you want to be known as? Do you want to be known for that creep? Or do you want to be known for something different, something better? Because if you're going to continue to highlight that part of your life and that's all you're interested in is gangs and that, then that's all you are. You're not worth anything. You've made yourself as worthless as those people you speak about. Charlie H, I'm grateful to be sober today. Fell down many times, but never giving up. Amen. Freddie J, 4K. Trust in the sinless blood of Jesus Christ against our sin nature and against the invisible demons in the visible air. Amen. I'm with you. I appreciate them prayers. Keep them prayers coming on here. That's what we do. Yeah, I mean, that's what we need. You know, here's my thing is like, you hear us speaking on these problems. This is where we need prayers at. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like, I'm gonna say this to, you know, and this is my olive branch to all of these brothers, because like, you know, I can see a greater good in it. I know that they try. You know what I'm saying? But I think that we all need to have more honest conversations ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, see, me, I'm one of them people, like, I take it back. I like to take it back to when we was kids, dog, to remind us all. You know what I mean? This is where everybody gets to cringing, because it's like, everybody knows I have a really good memory, and it's like, what the fuck does he remember? What the fuck is he gonna say? This motherfucker gonna say it. And everybody that knows me, like, they love me to death, and I, you know, I gotta cease with the bullshit with the homies, but you know what I mean? It's one of them things where, like, I just try to be honest, bro. Motherfucker had shit stains in their drawers, bro. We used to run around the projects. We used to run around the projects all dirty, playing marbles, all up in the grass all day. You know what I mean? Playing basketball, smelling like boo-boo, and you know what I'm saying? Like, we was dusty little project kids, dude. These reputations that everybody would know us to be and all this, we grew up and they'd like, no, still, no. Homie, stop. Stop, homie. Stop. Because I know we did some things. We did fun things too. We did fun things. We didn't come out the womb fucking crip walking and shit, dog. We weren't throwing up the hood at the womb, dog. We didn't do it that way. Stop it. You know what I mean? And that's where, like, I go back, I'll circle back to the monster thing. It's like September 1979. Remember this shit. I'm not going to forget it now, because I watched that video with OG. And that's when that fight happened, dude. That fight happened. And, like, listen to that interview. Watch that interview on Kev Mack videos of Monster Cody when he's telling about that event. One thing about Monster Cody is he tells his stories dry. Like, the way he's telling it, that's some real shit. Like, it don't get no realer than the way he told it. Because when he talks about when the dude comes up and he starts shooting, how they all just fucking broke, got scared and broke. That's the truth, dog. That's the truth. Monster Cody was scared, homie. Monster Cody admitted he was scared, homie. But that's real shit right there. That's real shit, because that moment triggered something in Monster Cody. Fear left Monster Cody that day. But he admitted in that moment that they all broke white out of fear. And I'm listening to him tell the story, and I'm there because he's into it. He's like, the two homies, and they was big, and they was scrapping, they was getting it, they was throwing them, boom, 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 and they was both getting theirs. And you know what I mean? Like, he's telling it real, 100, no disrespect. You know what I mean? And I'm there. I'm at that fight. It's after school. I'm thinking it's after school. I'm right down watching the homies just scrapping. You know, picturing two big ass homies scrapping. Ding, ding, ding. You know what I mean? Homies is getting it. All of a sudden, a homie just comes out of nowhere. And none of us knew him. A homie just got put on 2 days before, and none of us, the core of us, knew him. And he just blast like that. Hell yeah, I'd have been scared out of broke. You know what I'm saying? Monster told that shit real, bro. He didn't get, there wasn't no, like, there's no disrespect in the story, nothing. It was real. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is what happens after that murder. OG Judson Baycott, his brother Jeffrey, rest in peace. He ends up getting shot behind that. You know what I mean? Like, I spend a lot of time with him. So I'm like real familiar with them Crip Wars, dog. Like, believe it or not, I know a lot about those beefs, dog. I know a lot about those beefs. But like, and like, he get a call too from another OG, and he was telling me too. We were talking. I forget the OG's name. He's like, man, he called me every day. Watch, he gonna be calling me right about now. Let me go get my phone, cause he's about the time he called me every day. I forget the OG's name though. And sure enough, called him up. There's talking about this old Spider Loc, dog. Like, man. So yeah, Spider Loc, they talking about you here in Arizona too, homie. It might not be cool for you to like try to come out here right now either, dog. Without squaring the circle right there, bro. You gotta square that circle with the homies, dog, for real. And too, man, like, that shit gotta stop, bro, for real, bro. Quit letting motherfuckers, bro. Like, listen, dog. Especially if you got the stories, homie. You really like that. You know you got a name, dog. Don't be selling yourself. Don't stop selling ourselves out like that, bro. And then going on these fucking platforms and allowing these motherfuckers to ask us questions about other people. Nah, homie, don't do that no more either, bro. No more speaking on gang beefs, bro. Fuck that shit. You know what I mean? Like, that shit gotta get taken off. Like, we just no more speaking on it, homie. Like, if it's going down, take that shit in them circles, homie. Take that shit to them parks, bro, for reals. So all the OGs, dog, like, man, bro, we need to start speaking up, bro. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, we got to be willing to put our lives out there too. If they're gonna be killing, man, shit, put your life out there. Tell them kill you first. You know what I'm saying? Tell them little homies, if they're gonna kill another brown man or black man or whatever, they're gonna go out there, your people in your neighborhood, they're gonna go to them other one. Tell them kill you first, homie. That's how we take it back, dog. See, because LA's different, bro. Like, people don't understand. Cali's way different. You absolutely have to give California their dues with this shit, bro. Nobody does it like Cali. Nobody has like that. They don't do it like Cali. Cali got the history. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got a cold history with all of it. Like, that's just not black gang. That's all the gangs and shit. They gang. That's gangland. Like, you can't escape that out there, bro. Like, the government did that to us. The government did that to our people, bro. You know what I'm saying? And we're not enemies, bro. We're not enemies. We're not enemies, homie. We're not enemies, bro. Why are we enemies? Like, why are homies from the north and the south enemies, homie? Why are Crips and Bloods enemies, homie? Why are blacks and brown? Why are we enemies? I don't have no enemies, bro. Like, I don't. I see the actions of people as being antithetical to the best interest of a community. But I don't hate nobody. I'm just saying to that person in particular, and them people in particular, like, you're worth more than that yourself. You know what I mean? Freddie, amen. Pebbles, 1 Corinthians 2:2, for I determined not to know anything among you save Jesus Christ and him crucified. Amen. That's I tell you. My practice, because the blood of Jesus sprinkles the stones. My practice is Torah daily. Today is Yom Rishon, Sunday, the first day of the week. I'm not getting into none of those debates, but but no, you know what? And it's relative, it's anecdotal, because in my studies while I was over there with OG Baycott, a question about the Prophet Muhammad gets brought up, right? So I'm actually doing some research right there. That's when he gets a call from the OG. So he's in on that call and I'm in on these studies, right? And I'm looking, right? So I'm doing my search and I'm like, okay, so what was the Prophet Muhammad's relationship to the Christian community, right? That was my question. So what was the Prophet Muhammad's relationship? Because the Prophet Muhammad passed away centuries before the Crusades. So it's like, well, if he wasn't involved in the Crusades, then what was his relationship with Christians? And you won't believe what his relationship is to the Christians. The Prophet Muhammad is a stamp to Christianity. He confirms Christianity. They had a very good relationship. The very first would call them the true fruits of Islam, which is Muhammad, the prophet, not this all over here America shit, this racist shit. This is racist. But no, the true genuine fruit of Islam is peace amongst those communities. You have to know the history between the Prophet Muhammad and the Christian communities at that time, and how the Assyrian king actually took them in, who was a Christian, when they were getting persecuted. So they had a strong relationship with the Christian community, because you have to understand something, that the Prophet Muhammad confirms the coming of Christ. He speaks of the virgin birth and all that. There's no contradictions, none in the prophets, not any. The conflict comes with the Holy Trinity. And that's long after Muhammad's dead. And that's after Constantine's gone. This is where the papacy starts to form. Because the papacy is the Pope, the papacy, that forms in layers over time. That's instituted over time. And that's where those conflicts begin in the church to begin with, is over the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity is the Pope's way of saying, I am Jesus Christ on earth. It's evil. There's no Holy Trinity. It's unholy Trinity that comes from the Catholic Church, from the papacy itself. You see, you have to understand it comes from the papacy. There's a difference between, you have to understand the Roman Catholic Empire, the Roman Catholic Church, the papacy are all three different things. They're three different institutions that coalesced over time. It doesn't just happen like that. So, that being a broader view, right? So now we're in a day and age where the love of the world has obviously grown cold. Where people of color, ourselves in these communities, don't stop to reflect on the fact that what we're speaking on speaks demoralizing to our own selves. Because it's a reflection of where we come from and who our people are. I can't sit here and say that I'm this and then speak about all of these things that are happening in my community and detach myself from the worst of it. Because I have an accountability and responsibility to my community. Right? If there are things that are harmful to my community and the community going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's somebody going around the community breaking the car and stuff like that. Like, it's on me to keep that, because I ain't trying to have it happen to me.
So I was telling Paris that
So we have a far greater responsibility, you know what I'm saying, as men and as women than just that. Because we just turn a blind eye to everything. And the cold thing about it is, you know, people will sit here on YouTube, they say, oh, I ain't no snitch, I ain't gonna do this, I won't do that. But then they sit here and make content about it all day. You see what I'm saying? They sit there and make content about it all day to no avail. I mean, they get paid for it, obviously, but what else? You see what I'm saying? So, let's see where we at. Black Panther, Savant, or Montgomery Gator. Mark Bronner, religion is regarded by the common as true, by the wise as false, and by the rulers as useful. Mark Bronner, you need a psych. Do I? It sounds like you need a psych. Yeah. Listen, you came on here trying to sound so smart. I'm gonna make you look stupid right now. Religion is regarded by the common as true. No, it's regarded by science as true. Mark Bronner, that just goes how stupid you are. There's a whole science called theology with mathematical formulas to prove it's all true. So what are you talking about? The very first thing that came out of your mouth got debunked. I debunked the very first thing that came out of your mouth. I don't even have to go any further than that. Shut up. Just shut up trying to sound smart. You try to sound all philosophical. I know you're an atheist, stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're an atheist. Nothing's more delusional than an atheist. And yes, theology's a science, retard. Who's delusional? Who's delusional? Huh? Huh? It's a fact. You're talking about, listen, let me explain something to you. To show how stupid you are, I mean, what you don't know, religion has two different meanings, right? So what you're talking about, atheist, right, is what the dictionary says religion is, right? What does the Bible define religion as? Huh? Because I'm going to get to your next point. How? Because there's two different distinctions. What you think religion is and what the Bible says religion is. So I know the atheist that you are, so answer that one. Riddle me that. Huh? Have fun. Have fun, kid. G-Town, Texas. S.O. Tim Snow. Shout out Tim Snow. But man, I got so burned by that topic for sure. It's a reminiscing of the past to no end, right? I know, and I talk with Tim. Like me and Tim talked when I first, years ago, when I first started, I did that other YouTube shit. Tim wanted to interview me. We talked and shit, but like, now I dig Tim because he you know, he hits it from angles. That's the thing. He does hit it from different angles. And you know, the other thing is that one of the highlights about Tim in this whole program is that you know, his life revolves around his daughter, and he highlights that on his channel. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's one of the things about him that I truly appreciate about his channel. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, listen, people are gonna keep committing crime, keep going to prison, dude. I mean, it's like, look, I speak on things. I speak about going to school. I speak about all kinds of different shit to inspire people to think outside the box for themselves. You know what I mean? G-Town, Texas, I thought he did great work exposing that Chomo SPM, though. Yeah, he was on his helmet. But the thing I know about Tim Snow is like Tim Snow got some contacts Tim Snow got some solid contacts, and he's a wise man, dude. He's pretty shrewd. He is shrewd. You know what I mean? I dig Tim. I fucks with Tim. Uh, I get back out there to Texas. I get back out there to Texas. I'll hit him up. I try to get down there to Galveston. Cause he's still down there in Galveston, huh? I don't like going south in Texas though, dog. I really don't like going down there by that border, for real. I don't. I don't like going down. I don't like going down in the south. I like Central and North Texas. You know, I love the DFW. Hey, DFW get money, man. Fuck the DFW get money, man. Hey, DFW gets money. That's like different, get money in DFW. I met an oil tycoon on a bus one time, dude, that, man, he had the amazing ass story, dude. It was crazy. He was a Baylor grad too. He was a Baylor grad. He got off the bus in Dallas because he was driving. He has a fleet of trucks now. He's had a fleet of trucks a few different times, but he's got a fleet of trucks on the road again. So he was coming back, and he gave me a fucking, cause all of his shit matched. It had the Baylor colors and shit. Gave me pillow, blanket, fucking towels, all kinds of shit. It was cool. We talked for a minute. Gave me his business card and everything and shit. Told me to see him. He was doing he was hauling parts for the oil wells and shit. Different shit that they use at the oil well. Cause that's one of the things that he did before too was, well, he's always worked in the oil industry, gas and oil. So like either he was doing shipping or he worked as an engineer at one point. But yeah. DFW get money, man. Get money. It's the weather, bro. That humidity is insane, bro. That's why my fam moved to DFW in 2000. Hey, that weather, down there in the south is ugly, dude. You get down there in Screwston, ugly. That's ugly ass fucking weather. That's what I call it, ugly. It's ugly. That shit sticks to you. It's ugly. It's like an oogie. It feel like it hover on your ass. You feel like you coming. You feel like you just gonna smell like the swamp forever. I don't know. I'm just fucking around. Houston's live though. Houston's live. It's different. I like Dallas more than Houston. I tell you, I liked it up north more than down south, because it is fucking muggy as a motherfucker down there. It's humid in Texas as it is for somebody like me from this dry ass desert, but I don't mind it, dog. I adapt well. I adapt and overcome quick. Food, like I'm already knowing if I gotta go outside and it's fucking hot, it's hot. I know what I need. You know what I mean? If it's humid, I know what I'm gonna need. I'm prepared for it when I go outside, you know what I mean? Shit, we out there. Cause like the homies, nephews and niece, his nephews play football, Pop Warner and shit. And you know, out there in Texas, football fucking big. So like when it's football season, we be going to them games and shit, bro. It be muggy as a muggy, it's humid. I be feeling that shit. And that was like one of the things too, when they had the games, we'd had to take multiple vehicles, so I would have to drive, and I hated that shit. I didn't like to drive over there. But I didn't like to drive, but I love driving. I used to love those rides, them long ass rides on the I-35. I'm not gonna lie, dog. I used to just fall asleep on the shit. Just zoning. Going from Harker Heights or Killeen or right there to Austin or down to Austin or up to Waco or even up more to DFW. See, we're at Fort Stockton. Fort Stockton, Port Arthur. I've been through San Antonio, but didn't stay. Willie, do you do any hiking to release stress? I used to, but not at this moment. I used to. That was something that like I got a one of my coworkers, man, I got him into it. And now he's fucking, dude, he's going like fucking, I forgot how many miles the last time. He's pushing like 10-mile hikes up. You know what I mean? And like, I was proud to see that because I remember we would be having them conversations about our health. And he's around my age, I think like a year or two younger than me and shit. And like, I would go from work to go to Tempe Town Lake. That's where I was going to working out. And I would hike up that A mountain or around Papago and shit. But yeah, it's good for you. That right there releases a lot of stress right there, man. Like, I try to tell people that all the time about the walking. Like, it don't even matter what comes out while I'm out here. Like, the more turned up I get, the more relieved I am when I'm done. You can already see, like, right now, like, with each of these lives, it's going to be less and less of that on here because like I said, bro, I don't even know how much longer I'm going to keep running. Because, like, this week, I gotta head to the ASU campus, and then I got to spend some time downtown. So, yeah, I got to focus on my studies, bro. Like, I got to focus on getting that stuff together, getting these books together and start pushing them to publishers. You know what I mean? Like, I got work to do, dog. It's a new year now. You know what I mean? I can't be continuing on this like that. You know, I won't be at the same rate anyway. You know what I mean? That much I do know, because I said that my cutoff was the cusp of Aquarius anyway, which is the end of the month. It's just that I know that my whole focus. Bullet. No trace. Hollow point. Unless it had trace DNA, there would be no way to identify this bullet. I can see that right now. There'd be no way of, unless there's DNA. I got some lead for you. Yeah. I got some lead for you. Weirdest looking black dude. He's Spanish. Are you a racist? You're a racist, huh? Hey, what's your name? Whatever. Hey, are you a racist? Huh? Hold on, watch this. Cause they always come in tandems. You see how they come in tandems? You're trying to distract for what? I got distracted by a bullet. What were you trying to distract from? What did you disprove? Huh? Like what? I don't know. So, but the racist guy, what is it? You don't even have any. Weirdest looking dude I've ever seen. Hey, so are you a woman? First, let's ask that question. Are you a female or a male? We're going to play Guess Your Identity. So are you male or female? 21 questions. Are you male or female? Because you're hung up on my appearance. Yeah, it may hook to the left a little bit. 9 or better. You know what I mean? But yeah, it may be weird. But what's the point? What was your point? So that's my question. While you're on my physical appearance, I'm wondering what gender you are, that you are so interested in how I look. So you try to be racist. You try to be racist and try to conceal whether you're black or brown and all that. So, you know, but it wouldn't be surprising because some of you Spaniards, you got that concrete. Some of you guys think you're white. You want to be white. That's why people hate you guys. Like, that's why you're not, that's why, like, you really, like, when it comes to a certain place where it's really, like, racist, and it's really racist between blacks and browns, it's those people. Them ones. They're confused about who they are. They don't even know their gender, let alone be able to identify anything else. You see how foolish this creep look? This creep doesn't even know his own gender. That easy. Easy peasy. It's easy peasy. See, I'm going to get around this corner. I'm going to post up for a minute. I'm going to talk a little bit and then I'm done because I've already got my 5 miles. I've been on here over 130 something minutes. I got my 5. I finished my fitness app. I'm going to get out my composition. I'm going to throw me some of these discs around. I'm going to play me some disc golf by myself. I'm my solo. I'm going to still be out here. So, you know, for all your idle threats, for all you American idle threats. Hey, but I want to circle back around to gangs being gay. Because that seemed to trigger some people. That seemed to get under people's skin, the fact that the gang culture is gay. It's gay, dog. Like, you can't, like, there's gay gangs now. There didn't used to be gay gangs, dog. Gay gangs cannot thrive in the gang world. But gangs are gay now. Gay gangs have their place amongst the most crazy gangs. Girl gangs, they're more feared. Gay gangs are more feared. Like, it's crazy, bro. The gays in the community, like Fat Rat, they're, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing about that story with Cody Monster, too. Cody Monster sat in the cell and watched this dude get raped. Let's keep that in mind, too. Let's keep in mind what Fat Rat did, too. Ain't he doing life for some crazy shit? Isn't Fat Rat doing life in prison for raping his own homies? Ain't that what he did? He was raping his own homies. They were setting up shop at the drug dealers in the neighborhood. He was robbing them and raping them. Got him on tape. That's how they busted him. Ain't that what it was? Monster Cody was in the cell when that shit was happening. It's crazy. Damn. See, it's never no wonder to me in the end, the desecration that you see. A witness to such brutality in a cell. Let that sink in for a minute. There's dead people that have taken a lot of lives. There's dead people that have caused a lot of death and destruction. Our memorials are not worth what people think. If somebody wants to dig up any one of our graves and piss and shit on them, we deserve it. Let's not delude ourselves as gang members, especially those of us who are violent, who are involved in the drugs and the gangs and who actually shot people and committed murder. Let's be honest here. We're not above all that shit, dude. We're the worst of it. And we need to come to terms with ourselves about this shit and quit acting like it's something to be discussed and not in disgust. Because it is disgusting, dude. Gangs are gay now, dude. They're gay. They even dress gay. They have long hair. They wear they wear girl pants. Their clothes is unisexual. The boys dress their clothes as unisexual clothing labels, dude. Gangs. Vicky Gage. What up, Vicky? Gangs. The gang culture. And it's like everybody understands this. I've heard everybody saying this shit. Dog, there's no neighborhood that's gonna sit there and act like we're above reproach, dude. Like we don't got the worst of it in our neighborhoods. Every last one of us who was involved in that shit deserves what we get, dude. That's why I face mine now. That's why I'm honest about mine now. That's why I don't sit there and it's punk shit that I did. I'm not gonna sit there and fucking feel disrespected if somebody calls me what I was for the shit that I did. I'm not a fucking sensitive ass little fucking snowflake motherfucker that can't handle my own. Dude, I'm outside live on location. There ain't no, not with this motherfucker right here. We don't play those games. Not me. So, you know, like, and Vicky, speaking of Alabama, I was just, cause I fucks with Brazy, man. I fucks with Brazy. And I was just seeing that shit about Brazy's grandma when his grandparents got killed. You know what I mean? And like, I remember like, I was fucking with Brazy. I was fucking when I first got out, like when Brazy was first like doing shit, like, I like Brazy shit. Brazy, Crip Mac, and Charleston White were the ones that I was crossing the street. The only ones who was showing up in my sharing content with. And like, I will fuck with Breezy because I'll post, I was sharing his videos on my shit. You know what I mean? I was blasting him out here and shit. I was fucking with him. This is before he even got that car, before he started fucking with Birdman and shit. And then all that shit happens. You know what I mean? Like, you look at like, man, that shit, it's different. Looking at what's happening in Mobile, Alabama, looking at what's happening in St. Louis, look at what's happening in Memphis. Like, that's not even Chicago, bro. Like, that's not, those numbers are way up there. Like St. Louis compared to the next, you know, like Chicago's like damn near at the 10 now for all their hype. For all Trap Lord's little hype. Yeah. You know what I mean? That ain't nowhere near what St. Louis. No one is nowhere near where St. Louis is. Them in Memphis. And you couple the murder with the violent crime rate, that shit is crazy. And these fools are talking about this shit out here like it. No, it's not like that, dog. Not like that in Arizona. It's not like that in California. It ain't even like that in Texas, dude. Stop. It ain't like that in fucking Chicago either, dude. Stop. But people want to insist, like, all right. My point is exactly what I said before. If it's really like that, then why ain't you out in your neighborhood doing nothing about it, man? Why are you sitting there talking? Why are you fear-mongering and loathing and shit? Yes, Crips go crazy here and the prison is overloaded. Yeah, their prison system is great. Look up their prison system. You want to compare prison systems, look up Mississippi and Alabama's prison system. No, bro, you get that. Come on, man. Like, some of this shit be like, it's weird, dude. It's weird how some of these dudes try to give these impressions. Like, you guys are not paying attention to nowhere else. You guys are caught up in your own sauce. That's why I say you're cutting your own fear and loathing. You're sitting there looking out your window trying to tell her, like, nah, I don't see that here, bro.
They don't see that shit in Mobile, Alabama either. St. Louis, they ain't seeing that shit there, dog. Like, nobody does. Just because there's Crips and Bloods and there's Sureños and Norteños, that don't mean that, like, Cali's there. You're not there, dude. Those gangs are there. You're not there. Cali's not there. And, like, when are you guys going to understand that nobody gives a fuck? Like, everybody keeps telling you guys that. Fucking OG Percy, all these Crips out there in Texas, like, they don't give no fucks about Cali, your politics. They're their Crips. They are their own Crips. That's the same shit homies out here from West Side City. All these Crips homies out here let that shit be known they're their own independent Crips. They don't need nobody's permission. I can imagine Lonnie B Day trying to get politics. You ain't gone. No, hell no, dog. Rest in peace to OG Lonnie B, dog. Little Vamp Low. Shout out to my dog, Timmy T, man. Them motherfuckers know, dog. Those of us who were out here, we knew. We know. But listen, bro, it's not, stop with the pissing contest. That's my whole point. I get caught up in the shit right now. Like, dog, it's just fucking pissing contest, and for what? I'm sitting there looking at this shit, like watching this shit about Brazy, like, that shit's just straight retarded, bro. Like, man, dog, motherfucker couldn't get no job. Like, couldn't go to school. Like, this is what we need to be doing, bro. This is why these content creators, instead of being on YouTube, need to be at their parks, dog. Be out there at them parks daily, pushing the grind, dog, pushing a message. Also, man, I'm going to tell you what, man, I see homies start doing that. I'm going to support that shit 100. Man, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to be on that shit every day. I'm going to share every bit of that. I'm going to promote that. If I see these homies, like, especially, dog, if you know you good in the hood, dog, that's where you need to start getting with people, dog. Start having them conversations, dog, reaching out on the phone and saying, hey, homie, let's talk, man. Let's talk. Let's get some more people in on this talk. Because like OG Justin was telling me, he was telling me about 400 people in on the conversation right now out there, man. Talking peace and shit. You know, and I say that for everybody, bro. Like, you know, for each hood, you got to take it amongst yourselves, bro. You got to reason it amongst yourselves, dog, because the killing got to stop. You know what I mean? Like, we just all gonna end up dead in the end, right? Like, there's no way around that, right? That's unavoidable. We just gonna all end up dead in the end, huh? Vicky, so how do you think they get the population down? That's exactly how they get the population down. Like, that's the crazy thing is like we take it all for granted. We don't realize that this is all stuff that's been weaponized against us. Like, this live actually begins where I was explaining that. I was explaining how by law we were forced into those demographics, and like I'm actually working on the book right now to spell it all out clear as day so everyone can understand it. We have to come out of the delusion ourselves, dude. Like, we have to understand that way is erroneous. There's nothing to be gained going that route in life for no one. You see what I'm saying? And like, if the homies were out there daily at the park running a live stream, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, listen, think about it. Think about this. If the OGs ran live streams at those parks out there, there ain't gonna be nobody coming through doing no dumbass shit, dog. You know why? Because the community themselves are going to be gathered there. And if anybody was to come from any outside community and try to do something, those communities are going to know. You see what I'm saying? And then each is responsible for its own. You see what I'm saying? It's like all these homies know each other. It's like either, like, that's the crazy thing about LA. And I realize that it's like,
Like the OG Justin Baker, he can basically get on the phone with anybody he wants. Based on the people that he has in his contacts, he can get in touch with anybody out there that he wants. But it's a question if he wants to. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes there's just like, people don't fuck with people for whatever reasons. But see, that's what we need to get over. You see what I'm saying? That's where it's like, look, like, we have to accept that we did shit to other people that other people feel a type of way about regardless. We can't sit there and act like we ain't did nothing wrong and expect to have say when we're not going to be accountable for our own first. We ain't going to get nowhere in that discussion. That's why I always start out, but I know, dude, nobody has to tell me the wrong that I've done. You want me to spell it out for you, I'll do it again. I know my words, I know my deeds. That's why I got to refrain from. That's the very reason I say that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm considering not even putting out content no more. I'm speaking about fucking casting my pearls before swine. It all, like, you stinky, like, it goes in cycles on here. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's mind blowing that in the chat it repeats the same shit. And you have a sensible conversation, dude. A sensible conversation. Listen, dude. We're speaking about trying to solve some problems here, dude. I'm speaking about giving everybody the due respect. I'm speaking about everybody letting it all go. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to get their due respects if we're not all going to give each other our due respects, dude. You feel what I'm saying? If we're going to sit there and continue to allow ourselves to go turn and be talking all this shit like fucking Ant was, like Ant did that shit. He should have never opened his mouth to begin with. Why did you let this motherfucker for clout go and trigger you into going speaking about somebody else? Or even to be talking about shit like that. Like, why are you flexing on the front of the camera for? You're flexing if you're talking about a fight. It don't matter how you speak on it regardless. That's the whole thing about this shit. If you're not going to give them homies a chance to speak for themselves, dog, don't answer them questions in front of nobody. That's what everybody needs to say. Homie ain't here to speak his, so we ain't talking about it. Quit letting Vlad and Adam and all these fools fucking, because these dudes don't do nothing but go over there and clout chase. We all know they do. That was the shit they don't did. Bro, that was the first thing OG Just Baker said when he seen Al. That shit's all bad. Fucking with that white boy. He's getting calls from over there too. Other OGs from HA saying the same shit. But, you know what I mean? It just goes to show, motherfucker don't care. He don't give a fuck about his own OG. He don't give a fuck about his own hood when he gonna go on there and do what he did. It shows the same shit. So you know what I mean? Like, what's the solution? No, like, where do we end it? I mean, listen, don't the homies from A-Train understand that you ain't shit without being able to say you was at war with Rolling 60s, and Rolling 60s can't say you was shit without saying you was at war with A-Train? You know what I'm saying? Big U status just went up some. And why? Because of his relationship to Monster Cody. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if we're going to tell those stories, you know what I mean? Like, let's give some respect to it. Let's give some respect to the fact that, you know what I mean? Homies lost their lives for this shit, bro, on all sides. You know what I mean? Like, homies lost their fucking lives. We've paid with our fucking lives, bro. We lost family. We lost friends. We've lost ourselves in all of these discussions. You know what I mean? And we still allow ourselves to be baited into all this bullshit just for talking points, for conversation and shit. And I don't get how this shit can matter, man. You know what I mean? Like,
What does the loke or even the spider do for that grandfather at his 50 years old? Spider loke. What does being spider and being loke do for him as a grandfather, as a father, and as a grandfather, as a man? They don't do a shit for him. My reputation as a gang member, my reputation in the gang don't mean a motherfucking, they don't even mean shit to my own fucking, my own neighborhood. Don't people understand that? Your reputation doesn't mean a motherfucking thing to nobody. Nobody cares about that. People care about how you are as a person. You know what I'm saying? How a motherfucker is as a man. Nobody cares about the rest of that trivial ass shit because it's trivial. We all know it. You know what I mean? It's the same shit. So we gotta, you know what I mean? Like, what are we gonna do about ourselves? You know what I mean? Like, what are we gonna do about ourselves? You see what I'm saying? What are we gonna do about ourselves? You know, we have to live with the post-traumatic stress disorder. We have to live with the hauntings of this past, these memories, you know what I mean? And I get it, you know what I mean? Like, we all have a right to tell our own story, do we not? But it's a matter of how we tell our story. And we got to consider, is our story offensive to someone else? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously what Ant said was offensive to somebody else, or Spider wouldn't have said nothing. You see what I'm saying? Obviously it was. So how do you think the person who got raped felt? These fools are talking about people getting raped, dude. Like, this is what's come out of the closet about gangs. They rape. You're going to get your asshole taken. You can count on certain things. Like, this is what you better understand. Don't think for yourself, oh, it's not you, not your homies. Yes, one of your homies is going to rat. One of your homies is going to fuck your bitch. One of your homies is going to set you up. One of your homies is going to kill you. That's going to happen in your lifetime if you make it long enough. If you make it long enough as a gang member, yeah, it's what's going to happen to you. And you're going to suffer from PTSD your whole life. And you're going to sit there and blame the whole world for what you did. The blacks, the whites, the browns, your mom, your dad, everybody is responsible for it. But what about you? What about me right now today? What am I doing right now today to make a difference? In my own life first. And what in my life is an example to others? You see, people don't get that. You're not living an example. All you are is storytellers. And you clothe yourself, you cloak yourself in a certain self-righteousness. A gang self-righteousness. And you think that this gives you credibility as men. Like, it don't make you honest. It doesn't give you integrity because you didn't go to PC or you didn't rat. It doesn't make you honest. It doesn't make you have integrity or dignity or morals or values. It doesn't mean that you're even intelligent. It just means that you have a whole bunch of stories to tell. Because obviously, just like a lot of us, we were some fucking retards for a long time. We played crash test dummies our whole lives. And some of us still don't seem to get it at 40, 50, 60 years old. Still don't get it. Still do not see for ourselves. The very things that we gloat and glory over are the very things that perpetuate in the next generation's life. And we can't stand it, huh? We just can't stand the way they do it. We like to brag about how we did it in our days, huh? Don't we, kids? Huh, kids? Don't Unc be like to be, every time you guys be on your shit, Unc got to jump in with his shit. Well, back in my day, we did it this way, huh? But we doing the same shit, huh? Ain't we? Unc just trying to tell you he did it different, huh? But we doing the same fucked up shit, huh? We doing the same stealing, killing, drug dealing, huh? We committing the same adultery, huh? We doing the same fornicating, huh? It's the same debauchery, ain't it? From daddy to dum-dum that he dumped out of his testes, huh? This is just a generation of testicular failures. It's a generation of a whole bunch of babies that should have been aborted. Because the parents, look at them. Look at the parents. The parents are hiding it. They're hiding on YouTube. They're doing their therapy on YouTube. Let me stop, dog. Let me not. Let me not. See, I just went and started putting some old foreign language on there. You gonna think everybody gonna think I was disrespecting some gang shit. You know what I mean? I was Xing some people's out. Why you Xing out the? Why you Xing that out? Why you do that? Why is all that? I mean, what that stand for? That's my gang right there, homie. On gang, 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 gang. S1. S equals Shabbat Sabbath 1 first. So it's the first Sabbath times zenith, which is the sun coming up 0. So that's one equation. So what we're doing is pi. So I was trying to find an access point. That's what I was doing. So like, okay, so there's a lot to go with it. So you understand. Okay, this is where the breakdown is 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, right? You see 33.33 degrees between 99.99 degrees is what the axis is. How that's the tension between the gravitational forces. That's what I've been able to calculate right there. The tension between gravitational forces between when let's say the sun gets too far ahead and it's going to pull everything ahead. So it's how everything is orbiting each other, because the planets are orbiting each other like this, and it's at an elevation. So this is what I'm doing here is I'm giving a calculation to my points, so I can line up my points when I do my reference. Well, math's on another page. Some of it's in my head, but I just had to put those out so I can look at them while I'm doing something. But that's what we're doing. That's what I was doing here while we were talking about gangs. We're talking about the gang culture, because that's what this is, culture in America. I actually put that on the title of this live because, I wanted to speak in general about the culture of America because of how corrupt the culture is. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what culture we're talking about, if we're talking about the body economic in America, we're talking about American economics, we know that it's corrupt. We know that our economic system is corrupt. We know that by design, the tax policy and all this, it favors the wealthy. We all understand this. You see what I'm saying? So those of us at the bottom, this is what most affects us. And even like, because, and I'm gonna tell you why it most affects us, because the people that are hardest hitting by it are the small business owners, which are millionaire class. People don't understand that millionaires are middle class Americans. That's small business. Some of these big companies that you think are that they may do 10 million. That's not a corporation. That's a company. You're talking scale size different, way different. But when you look at the culture of it, look at the culture of banking, look at the culture of let's say dark money and politics. Like everything in this world, everything in this country is corrupt. You know what I mean? Like all politicians are corrupt, all parties are corrupt. You know what I'm saying? We know that every politician in Washington, D.C. they're just donors. They're just all puppets. We know that both parties are just all they are just covers for the wealthy people in this nation listen, those people, those families are the same people that still own plantations here. They still own the properties that those plantations were on. They're the same people, these families, these legacies, these lineages, these genealogies still dictate our policy. They still write the laws, and both parties, all parties in Washington, D.C., they're nothing but puppets. That's it. It's just a fucking show, dude. It's just a political show to get a bunch of dumbasses to vote, dude. They don't support no Americans. There's no politician in Washington, D.C. that supports an American. They're paid for by their donors. Every politician in Washington D.C. don't do shit but fucking do the bidding of their fucking donors. They're not for America. No politician in Washington D.C. Not one. Everybody knows that. There's only listen, only the most listen, on all sides, only the most ignorant of people, narrow-minded people still support either party. Seriously. The most sensible people who still vote are independent. If you're voting Democrat, Republican, or Libertarian, you're the same problem. Only independents are going to make a difference. Only people that decide to see things for themselves independently and not go fucking follow a cult of personality, because all political parties are is a cult of personality. That's all it is. Everybody knows that. Even the people that are duped by it know that. They just don't give a fuck. They'll just make every excuse for it and call it everything other than what it really is in life. It don't change the fact. It don't. But where does that leave us, right? Where does that leave us in the grand scheme of things at the bottom? Huh? Because if you ain't making millions a year, then you poor. You don't see it, but you're poor. You're duped into thinking that shiny objects and material things have value, that it gives worth to your life. No, stupid. What? Just because master gives you clothes? You're dumb, dude. The way the disproportionality between wages and profits. No, dude, you're picking cotton. If you're not working, if you're not a millionaire and you don't have your own business, you're picking cotton right now, dude. You're picking fucking cotton and you're paying taxes to the same fucking creeps. So enjoy. But I gotta go. My battery's going low and I need some water and I've been on it too long. Howdy, 55.